So I was going through some old family photos and came across this gem. Oh, look at that face. And you know, looking through these old family photos made me think about young Chris, and that made me cringe. And in case you're wondering, yes, I am recording this with a different camera. I just want to see how this one performs. Let's start at the very beginning. So at the time when I was just starting to learn how to write, I thought the word the was simply spelled T-H. I have no clue where I thought the sound came from, but I was sure that T-H-E was a misspelling of the. And you could not convince me otherwise! And I was so upset when I learned that no, it wasn't spelled T-H. Number 2. This one's a bit later, roughly around 4th maybe grade. It's old enough to where I should have known better, so probably around 4th grade. Our family was very safety minded and safety conscious. And so when I heard about the password technique, I was thrilled because I knew we were gonna start adopting this. And if you don't know what the password technique is, basically is your parents have a special password that anytime they have to send somebody to come get you, they tell the person to come get you a special password that only if the person getting you knows the password will you, the child, go with them. If they don't know the password, you do not go with them. A great idea and a very good system, and I'm probably gonna do this with my children. So when I heard about this, I was like thrilled because yay, that's a great idea. And I was convinced that I should be the one to make up the password, and I chose a password. And I was so proud of said password. I knew it was completely original, no one would ever guess it. And it showed what a great sense of humor I had. So the family password that I meticulously chose was the bird poops. I kid you not. The bird poops? Really, Chris? I even wrote that in like Word and tried to make that our desktop background. Just text that reads, the bird poops. I totally didn't know anything about how to make the desktop background at that time, but I tried to do it, and I completely expected my parents to tell their friends to say that when they come and pick us up. It wasn't even anything cool, like the velociraptor ate the shark with a AK-47. Oh no, it was easier to remember than that. Which was like the only good thing it had going for it. Number 3, Infodome. So when I was younger, I figured out a genius way to create a local chat program on our computer. I must have been one whiz of a computer geek, right? My local chatting program was a Word document that any member of my family could open up anytime they were on the computer. But I created this for a very specific reason. Infodome. Basically, the way it worked is that somebody could type in a question, and then a few minutes or hours later, I would come along, Google that question, and then reply with the answer. Why someone would go through me, a third party, to get to Google, I have no clue, but hey, this was a genius idea to me at the time. And I remember it went great, except it only got 3 questions in. Now, the first 2 questions were actually ones that I had written in an attempt to spark some interest in it. Didn't really work because I actually wrote 3 questions, and the third one I never answered. So I guess that means that I stumped myself. And that was the end of Infodome. Number 4. This one's really embarrassing. So back in California, we had this really epic trampoline in our backyard. Whee! 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 Another thing you have to know is that I love to be in my underwear. Another thing you have to know is that our house was right next to a highway, separated by a concrete wall that was probably about 6 feet high. Yeah, 6 feet high. That'll be very important in a second. So one of young Chris's favorite things to do was go out and jump on that trampoline during a rain or right afterwards, because the water makes the trampoline bouncier. And that's a fact. You can't convince me otherwise. So I would be out there bouncing up and down and waving to all the cars going down the highway while I was sopping wet in my underwear. Can you imagine driving down Northern California and just glancing to your right and noticing an almost naked kid bouncing up and down right there? Chris, no! And there you go. 4 stories from my childhood. I was a weird kid. You know, I kind of like talking about young me, because I know me best out of everybody in the universe. I think maybe next week I'll show a bunch of my young childhood photos and try and explain them. Sounds like fun. Sounds like hideous embarrassment. I filmed this with a different camera, can you tell? This one, I can zoom in. And it has a little review thing right there. And, I mean, it has autofocus, so I can go right here if I really wanted to. Or I could step way back here. Smack the wall if I really wanted to, but I don't want to do that. Yeah, the battery's about to die. I better, go import this footage now before it does. Toodaloo. Ah, that was the light.